Aloha, y'all. It is Tuesday, Tears Day, basically the Mars equivalent in Nordic mythology, a Tuesday. The sun is in Capricorn, the moon is in Aquarius, Mercury is also in Aquarius, Venus is in Capricorn retrograde, Mars is in Sagittarius, Jupiter is in Pisces, Saturn is in Aquarius, Uranus is retrograde in Taurus, Neptune's in Pisces, Pluto's in Capricorn, and the North Node is in Gemini. So let's go ahead and get some cards and see what's going on today. I've been binging Westworld. It's kind of like Magicians, where it's like, oh, and of course the card, that's today's card, the Magician card, just popped out. So it's the Starman. I'll read it in a second, but like Magicians, the show, first season's great, second, third kind of gets worse. Same thing, it seems, with Westworld, but I'm still going to watch all 3 seasons. So today's energy is the Starman with Mercury and the Moon, as well as Saturn in Aquarius, and Capricorn Sun still, North Node and Gemini. This is about like engineering the best ideas moving forward in a magical way. So let's go ahead and see what this is going to tell us. It's actually the main card of the Starman Tarot deck. David DeAngelis, the author of this deck, has been on the Team Rabbit Hole podcast multiple times. Going to get him and his wife back on ASAP. She's never been on, but have her own episode. So, the Starman, or the Alchemist. Manifest your reality. Ideas are communicated and brought into the physical world with ease. You have everything you need to create the world you desire and reconfigure yourself in liberating, expressive, and complex ways. The Starman, I will blow your mind. Let me just make sure you guys can see that. The Starman, I will blow your mind. The Starman is an attractor field through which we can observe the self we believe to be true. We are being invited to see the inherent nature of the human condition and look at what has been fashioned by culture through the ages, the belief and value systems we have simply adopted. His glorious presence awakens us to see another realm entirely, and in that resonance, seemingly irrefutable facts are seen as fictions. We see the Starman bringing the seed of transformation to the world, carrying the weapon that compels us to self-destruct in one hand, and the golden key that unlocks our supreme potential in the other. The luminous one, descending to earth with his arms outstretched, the alien Messiah. And with Mercury and all that energy in Aquarius is very alien. Moon in Aquarius. A vision of ecstatic color, light, and fire, molecular worlds streaming tendrils of life-giving substance, traveling through space, surrendered in time, ripples in the exosphere, his presence shimmering with ancient symmetries, waiting for the moment to reveal his power because he knows it will blow our minds. There's a Starman, right? A palpable sense of creative potency hangs in the air, a hidden potential demanding to be realized. The dissolving of the Starman's solid form into the golden pool of liquid light, the sheer willingness to melt himself down and to be reborn as something fresh, something new, but containing all of the elements woven from the past, is a powerful metaphor. That's alchemy, baby. We too can place the personality and the various jaded facets of ourselves into the flame of the creative fire to be reconfigured in ever more liberating and expressive and complex ways. We must throw ourselves into the white-hot flames, and despite this heat and sheer intensity, know that we can never disappear. To boldly confront the fear of destroying that which we cherish, something complete and comfortable, with great intrinsic value, and yet be courageous and break it down. To trust the Starman as he propels us towards the possibility of discovering what we didn't know that we didn't know, revealing the raw components of life, with all of the thoughts, frailties, passions, and anxieties which can now be transformed and recombined into something powerful, impactful, and extraordinary. He knows power does not come from him but through him, and he wields it with absolute integrity, creating something magical out of nothing. The Starman offers us the elixir, a constant visual theme and quest in my work with David Bowie, how to create images that brought things to the surface to be seen, felt, and ultimately to be healed of its own destruction. We must risk our own destruction. Risk our own failure and embrace what appears to be a mistake. Bowie seized upon things that would have been viewed as insignificant, and these were often the things that bore the most fruit. He wasn't afraid to pull things apart that already looked finished, to reveal something unexpected and significant. And that's very Capricorn Sun and Aquarius Moon. It's like, it might look complete, but like look a little deeper, and there's always tinkering to be done. North Node and Gemini, last moments of it, you can use your imagination to think new ways. When the starman appears, it is a signal to see what elements of your life can be reinvented and rethought in order to create and reveal something extraordinary. He is calling you to discover your full creative potential. So, very interesting card. I love the artwork. This is, one of the reasons. This is the cover of the deck. It draws you in. So it's some beautiful art. I love this deck, even though it's not traditional tarot. I've got a Rider-Waite deck now, but I love these kind of spin-offs, if you will. So let's go ahead and get a clarifier from Dreams of Gaia Tarot. All right, so all right, cool. So we've got the Four of Air. Very cool. Also, I mean, these are very similar. Almost look at the structure. Very kite-like, right? And very alchemical, very Mercury and North Node. Mercury is, about thinking and stuff. But with the Moon and Saturn and what else is Mercury itself is in Aquarius. This is very Aquarian looking, very intellectual. All right, so let's go ahead and see what's going on here. Air, Four of Air. Here he is. All right, so as follows. This is about structure, routine, order, patterns, discipline, organization, understanding, and productivity. Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Pluto, Venus in retrograde Capricorn, but also with Mercury, the Moon, and Saturn being in Aquarius. This is about engineering, seriously engineering. So order your environment, banish clutter, clean out your house, create structure in your day, follow a routine, keep a time budget. This is very Capricornic elements. If you truly want something, you will make time for it. Limit distractions and time wastage, weed out bad habits, and remove negative influence. The Four of Air symbolizes the importance of ordering your environment and giving your day structure, especially if you have specific goals or projects you wish to perform and complete. You're not going to, on the one hand, you want to wake up and be like, oh my God, who knows what this day holds? Everything's a mystery. But at the same time, there's a beauty and a faculty, I guess you could say, to being more Captain Von Trapp about it and keeping an order. That's how Bach created so much music, or Mozart, or Da Vinci created so many ideas and all that. They stuck to a kind of a regimen. Routines are our daily habits, the things we do on a daily basis, given structure and order. Following our routine moves us from one part of our day to the next. Having a routine can provide us with a level of security born of consistency. Time, karma, Saturn rules Capricorn. That is like the rings of Saturn show order, like the rings of a tree. By establishing order in our environment, we also add to that sense of security. When everything has its place, we can be confident that it will be there when we need it. And that just reminds me of the Radiohead song, In Its Right Place. Everything is in its right place. And as long as we can alchemize and see from higher perspectives, we realize that even the weirdest, Negredo phases of alchemy have their purpose. See, you even see a moon being eclipsed here, right? Even when light goes away and it's dark, that's still a beautiful part of a process of becoming alchemical, dare I say. So when everything has its place, we can be confident that it will be there when we need it. We won't waste hours of our day looking for something that has been lost in the clutter and mess we often surround ourselves with. A cluttered and chaotic environment can give rise to a cluttered and disorganized mind, a mind that is unable to follow a routine that is conducive for productivity. This is very Capricorn season energy, like productivity, time management. The Four of Air suggests establishing order in your life by removing the clutter. And I was just talking to my fiance about, I need to clean my room, go through the clothes I don't wear and toss them out, like just realistically, and be like, I don't need like a month's worth of clothes. A week's worth of clothes is fine. Establish a pattern of regular cleaning. Put things back where they belong after the use so they are there the next time you need them. Keep your paperwork in order. Even make a place in your life for the unexpected and unanticipated. Uranus in Taurus is causing an electric, like just like the Starman, this electrification of our material, our money, cryptocurrencies, our values, the political spectrum being kind of invalid and pointless this time, our religions, all this kind of stuff. Established, so putting things back where they belong helps. Keep your paperwork in order so you don't have this chaotic stuff, right? Just kind of summing up, I'm like, where was I? So does your routine make space for your goals and projects? When we want to make real headway, it helps us if our daily routines include a suitable amount of time set aside to work on these things that are truly important to us. If you want to complete a project, working in an ordered and a routine manner will help you progress by establishing a pattern of consistency that will result in a successful and timely completion. If you feel that you have no time, then the Four of Air represents an opportunity to sit down and look at your routine to see if there's time to be found that is currently spent on unnecessary tasks. Yes, it's fun to binge a bunch of shit on Netflix or whatever, but like, is that getting you money or moving ahead in life? And some argument, I mean, I would argue that like I'm finding truth in stories and applying them to like my readings and stuff and my own personality. So it's not just a waste of time for entertainment's sake. I'm actually trying to like use it as folk mythology or something like that. But that's just a justification also of wasting time on Netflix or whatever. So got to be careful. If you feel like you have no time, then it's saying to make the time, right? Making time for yourself to relax is one thing. Spending 5 hours on the internet chatting on social media or playing computer games is entirely another. Wouldn't some of that time be better spent working to meet your goals? Like I'm doing Duolingo Spanish now because I'm like, there's a good chance I'll have to run to the South Americas at some point if I feel like I need to go to a place that food is readily growable. Alternatively, do you spend hours playing computer games or reading books instead of writing that epic fantasy adventure? Are you consuming rather than producing, right? And you're good to do both, but my God, like the magician being a magician is way more impressive to the person experiencing it than watching Penn and Teller. Like you can do Gandalf shit too. You can be a Jedi. Don't always just watch people on YouTube or Facebook or, you know, whatever the news or any magazines or whatever you do and just imbibe what you wish you were. Become that. That is the Starman. Blow your own mind with the potential, but to blow your own mind, like, you know, in a sense, to get to the moon, I mean, in an analogy form, whether you're flat earth or not, I don't know, but to get to the moon, you need to have a structure with real rigor and science behind it to get you out of the Earth's orbit or whatever, right? So that's this Four of Air. It's like you have to engineer your alchemy. Some alchemy is spontaneous, right? Spontaneous human combustion kind of stuff happens, but at the same time, real magic happens, you know, like Aslan in Narnia. It's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself to the witch, but she doesn't know about the deep magic. The responsibility is at a higher level. So, you know, don't just be on social media and playing video games. Wouldn't some time be better spent working to meet your goals? Alternatively, do you spend hours playing computer games or reading books instead of writing that epic fantasy adventure because it takes your attention away from doubts, insecurities, and fears that you might have regarding your own aspirations and goals? Oof, that hits hard. I mean, I'm a musician and I tend to listen a lot more to music than write it. I don't write at all, basically. And it's this lazy kind of fear that I'm like, I just want to swim in the aesthetics as opposed to creating it myself. I'm going to jam on my electric guitar today so you guys can see me in alchemical mode as it's Sun and Moon Gemini 11th house, engineering my reality acoustically. So if the Four of Air is suggesting that you take time to look at why you are behaving in a way that sabotages your productivity and creativity. You could psychoanalyze this, Moon in Aquarius. You know, get some distance and like see the engineering schematic, just like in this card. He's got like a sigil all around him, the schematic of energy that you're living as a life, because we're all little sigils walking around that are transmutating all the time, like living trees of life. It's like which Sephiroth are activated, which are not. And it's all good, but like be aware, right? Know thyself. Patterns of behavior are often habituated when they offer a psychological or emotional reward. Dopamine, serotonin. Most of the time, they do not become an issue of concern, but if they become habituated, they can often have the same effect on our lives as drug or alcohol addiction. They provide a pleasure response, so we repeat them in order to get another hit. Are you seeking a pleasure hit for all the wrong reasons? Does socializing on the internet generate that pleasure hit by giving you social connection? And I know I've got to really think about this because, I mean, it's in my nature as an 11th house sun, which is Aquarius energy, 11th house sun, Gemini. You know, I'm mercurial and using technology, but like I don't want to just sit on VR and talk to people that way forever. I don't have VR, by the way, but digitally is kind of what I was saying. Does socializing on the internet generate that pleasure by giving you a social connection? Does playing computer games generate that pleasure hit by allowing you to escape reality for a time? Establish new productive and creative patterns, and you may get the same pleasure hit when you succeed at your objectives. I'm sure at some level, climbing to the top of a mountain physically, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Aquarius, like mountaineering, is probably as pleasurable in a lot of ways as tripping or things like that. But we have to get our minds in that space. This card appears in your reading to let you know that now is the perfect time to establish new patterns and habits. We just had a new moon in Capricorn, so it's new beginnings in our physical world, our habits, our achievements, and to look closely at those things that have already been established and decide whether they are for benefit or whether they hinder. Scrutinizing your habits, both good and bad, will also increase your understanding of yourself. This is the moon in Aquarius, sun in Capricorn. It's like, this is like a report card almost. But it's like, hey, Harry, you're doing really good, but if you don't study for your owls or your newts or all these things, you won't become the wizard you could be. And don't you want to be the most awesome wizard ever, Harry Potter? He's even got Harry Potter glasses. And angel wings. I'm just seeing the seraphim kind of situation here on the sides. So, yeah. Sit down and write a list. Very Venus retrograde in Capricorn. Sit down and write a list of how you spend your time. Look for those elements that eat into time that you could better be spent elsewhere. And I should say, when anything's retrograde, Mercury's in pre-shadow right now, retrograde. Venus is in retrograde. I think the North Node's in retrograde. A few retrogrades going on, but it's just think of it as the prefix re, like you reimagine, rewrite, re-edit, retell, recast, redo. It doesn't have to be I was going to say retarded, but that's not a very good colloquialism. It doesn't have to be bad. So just realize that it's a time to like review, basically. Sit down and write a list. See like how you're working out your time. Don't cut things out completely that are fun, because to do so can change your routine and is likely to become unsustainable, especially at the beginning of the year right now. January 3rd or 4th or whatever it is. The 4th, right? So it's everybody's like New Year's resolutions, Capricorn season. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna achieve all these things. I'm gonna diet. I'm gonna exercise. And it's like if you put on too much, you won't even accomplish a little, and then you'll be defeated and go just to the bottle or whatever. Don't change too much because it becomes unsustainable. Instead, budget your time like you would your finances. Allow time for wasting time, like leisure time, free time, but do so in a manner that allows you to stick to your time budget and get things done, Capricorn Sun. To be creative and productive and to reach our goals requires both a structured day and a discipline to commit to that routine, Mercury in Aquarius. It's like, get the job done. Like intelligently. By establishing a healthy routine that makes time for both relaxing and creative things, you will create an environment that is conducive to both. By making it a positive environment also, you increase your chances of success. Remember, if you truly want something, you will make time for it. So, we're in our little alembics, we're in our little laboratories of life as alchemical beings, kind of going through all cycles of, energy, both human and galactic and all these levels of stuff. And we really need to order our steps. There's a Bible verse that says, like, order your steps. There's time for vacation. There's a time and a season for everything, but are you wasting time? In some weird way, like it doesn't matter, but in some way you don't want to look back on your life from every day, from this day to that, as Braveheart would say, and be like, shit, I blew it. Like you could have been so much more magical in a sense if you had only initiated yourself more effectively. So that's kind of the energy we're getting. Not surprising with Capricorn Sun, Moon in Aquarius. And beyond that, a whole shit ton of Capricornic and Aquarian energy, which is Saturn ruled, both of them co-ruled, at least for the Aquarius end of it. And if you guys want to know more about astrology and stuff, hit me up. I give readings, 3 hours of astrology readings for $88, and I will tell you all these archetypes and things, and you will know them for yourself. Renewed hope. Amen and amen. I'm feeling this actually a little because it's such crazy times, but I'm like, all right, you know what? I've made my choice. I've picked my side, if you want to put it that way, North Node and Gemini. I've decided what I believe, and I'm going to, hope for the best for everybody. 79, Zeta Reticuli, renewed hope, present timeline. When a crisis passes and we are no longer deep in fear, there's a sense of relief. It feels like a new dawn has arrived and the future is filled with hope. This is where the Zetas are emotionally in this era. Zetas are like grays. Their species crisis has passed and they are feeling a new dawn rising. The message for you is to see each moment as a chance for a new dawn. That is the alchemical way. Every moment is a new experiment. And are you reading the signs and portents of the time? Are you, for those with eyes to see, are you clarifying your vision and renewing your hope towards the new magic in, every moment? The message for you is to see each moment as a chance for a new dawn. Nothing in the physical universe is constant except for change. With each change comes a potential for beauty, growth, and joy. Don't let these moments of your life pass without noticing them as doorways to awakening. Begin now, right? Take it seriously. Organize your perceptions so that you even appreciate the magic unfolding in front of you. This morning I went out and walked, let the dog out, and it's pre-dawn basically, and I saw, the light coming up in a sliver of the clouds. It's a cloudier day, just the pink, and it's like I made time to observe that, and it renewed my hope, even in something as simple as a sunrise. This card refers to an era of Zeta civilization when their species crisis had passed and they were on the road to recovery. With the threat of their extinction over, they reconnected with their joy and began to feel hopeful about the future. They realized that they could not go back to the ways of their past and had to reshape their civilization, right? You can't put new wine in old wine casks. The alchemy is constantly progressing like this, even though time is kind of an illusion. And structure and all this is kind of an illusion. That doesn't mean don't take it seriously at all. It's like, yes, we're in a dream, but like there's elemental realities and vibrational frequencies and I Ching binary regularities to this dream. It's saying if you pull this card's meaning depends on your circumstances and the other cards. It could be that you have recently passed through a dark time in your life and you are feeling that new dawn. If so, it is important to learn the lessons from the past and not repeat them before you move on to your new adventures in the future. It might also mean that you haven't yet passed fully through a challenging time. And astrologically speaking, I don't think that this whole COVID and totalitarianism of the globe is over really yet, though people hope for it. We can hope for new things, but we'll see. So it is important to learn the lessons from the past and not repeat them while bringing it into the future. It might mean that you haven't passed through that challenging time yet, but you can look ahead to when the dawn will come. Like dawn, I was just saying, of this morning for myself. For those of you who have strong Zeta connections, this card may also mean that you have a connection with the Zeta era. Perhaps you had a lifetime then, or you are in contact with a being from this era. In any case, let yourself feel the energy of a new dawn that is on the horizon. Always remember that personal work never finishes. 4 of Air. Take time to organize your thoughts and realize the great work, the alchemical work you're in, never finishes. This is the song that never ends. Literally. The song of creation. Always remember that personal work never finishes. The Zetas learned this too and continued their self-healing work on a personal and species level. This deep inner work led to their species awakening. This inner work can lead to your awakening as well. And that is literally what the Starman is showing you. This is an awakened being, right, who has put in the effort, I guess you could say, of mind to create the conditions for the magic. Yes, sometimes a storm will pop up randomly, but there's conditions that create that high-low atmospheres and moisture in the air and all this kind of stuff, friction in the clouds for lightning. It's not just like random. There's a structure to it. You can observe this, use your head, but at the same time, enjoy the magic. And that magic will bring you renewed hope. So let's go ahead and continue on our journey. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. If you do, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, because if I get to 1,000 viewers, I can go live on YouTube, and that'll be great. As opposed to having to do these recording things and we can talk and all that kind of stuff. If you're on Facebook or any other place I post this, just if you dig it, share it out with people you might enjoy it. You never know. Leave Hansel and Gretel crumbs, right? That's how I look at it. So number 14, equality. We've got as the animal oracle card. So number 14. And that's very Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Aquarius. It's like, what's the truth? What's the most fair kind of, not Libra is more about fairness, I guess you could say, but like what's the most equitable situation possible for the engineering to work? Like how do we get this schematic in balance so that we rise in an elemental way, an equal, like as much water as fire, as much earth as air. Seahorse, equality. Seek equality in relationships. North Node and Gemini, like twins, they're equal twins basically. Might have differences. They're not carbon copies, but they're similar. Seek equality in relationships, in particular your intimate ones. You will attract what you resonate, right? That's the frequency of the alchemy that you're a part of. So you've got to be really careful about how your mind is thinking about things, because if you have a Lamborghini, but you're like, this car's a piece of shit, like it's going to create a different reality than like if you have a golf cart and you're like, this is the fastest golf cart on earth, or whatever. You can decide your future. Very 4 of Air. Like use your head, decide it, make a choice. Hiding from our fears is rarely a good strategy. It is time to ensure that the domestic and emotional labor in your world is shared equally. Mythos. It is said that the beautiful sea nymph Salacia was happy and content, and that she kept a sea garden of beautiful corals and seahorses. The king of all the seas, the great Neptune, where Neptune rules where Jupiter is right now in Pisces, so not surprising this is coming up, saw her one day and set his heart upon her, wanting her for his wife. Salacia was chaste and inexperienced and feared Neptune. She was afraid that he would take her away from all that she loved or worse, so she hid from him in one of the furthest oceans. Venus retrograde in Capricorn. It's like, I don't know if this is a safe place. I got to think about it. Neptune meant no harm or disrespect for Salacia and searched for her, sending his favorite dolphin to look. The dolphin found Salacia and her seahorses, and they explained her fears to him. The dolphin assured them that they would be happy with Neptune and Salacia would not lose the things she most loved. Salacia consented to the marriage, and Neptune loved and honored her. She wore pearls in her hair and rode in a pearl-shell chariot drawn by both seahorses and dolphins to signify equal union. And with the North Node of Gemini and the Moon and Saturn and Mercury and Aquarius is about teams and stuff, like we could play well together. Like not everybody's an enemy out to rape and kill you and pillage you. Don't look at that. Like rewire your way of looking at things. You want to be as discerning as a serpent, but as gentle as a dove. And that's how you rise in love. And that's how you become the hope that we're waiting for in the world. Be the change. You rise, right? So the animal. If you have ever seen a seahorse in the flesh, you will attest to how wondrous these animals are. Swimming upright, this bony, and bones is ruled by Saturn and Capricorn, so bones coming up here. This bony fish without scales has a distinctive horse-shaped head and a tail they wrap around sea vegetation. They are very beautiful and can appear in a variety of colors. They range in size from 1.5 centimeters to more robust 14 centimeters, but all move in supremely delicate ways. Most have a propulsion system, and this is very Moon in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, talking about like the physics and anatomy of an alien creature on Earth. Most have propulsion systems made up of rapidly oscillating fins, including the dorsal fin, and they often float with the current to get from place to place. They have no teeth and suck up their food. One of the most famous things about seahorses is their reproductive cycle and the high involvement of the male in rearing their young. Capricorn Sun, you're being a steward and a father, in a sense, or they are. Seahorses have elaborate courtship rituals that can last for many days prior to the actual mating, right? They're taking the time to do the ritual, to do the work, to clean up their space, in a sense, to organize their reality through ritual. When they are ready, the male opens his brood pouch, which contains the sperm. And this is so alien, very Moon in Aquarius. It's like backwards kind of sexual polarities. So the male opens his brood pouch, releases the sperm. The female deposits her unfertilized eggs into that pouch, so she's inseminating him in a sense. And the pouch closes. The eggs are fertilized and the baby seahorses grow within the male's brood pouch, protected by him. His pouch makes him look quite pregnant. When they are a sustainable age, 5 to 2,500 little seahorses are ejected from the pouch. The magic. Like most ocean-based elemental magic, and we're talking about elements, I was saying earlier with this alchemist, right? Like the balance of the elements. This is water magic, basically. Like most ocean-based elemental magic, the keys here are flow and fluidity. And I'm reading Paralandra, the second of the trilogy of C.S. Lewis's space trilogy that he wrote while being in the Inklings with J.R. Tolkien while he was writing Lord of the Rings. Basically, they flipped a coin, and he's like, one of us gets to write about the future, and one of us gets to write about the past. And Tolkien won the past, and C.S. Lewis had to write about the future. So, but anyway, in this book, it's all on this Venusian kind of planet where it's all waves and water and flow. So this magic is all about flow and fluidity. However, seahorse magic can be best utilized around issues of equality. If you want to be seen as an equal, or you are being discriminated against in race, sex, or status, like vaccinated or unvaccinated, that kind of thing, that's at this point almost discriminatory. To be unvaccinated feels like I'm having to, fit into a very Nazi-like paradigm. You can ask for the help of seahorse energy and receive balance and justice. Amen. Symbology: seahorse head, seahorse pulling a chariot, beautiful sea goddess with a seahorse. And the status of the species there are 43 species of seahorses, the majority of which are vulnerable or endangered. So there's a whole shit ton of them out there, not just like one type. So let's be better magicians of our terrarium and be responsible for our environment, which will renew hope, ultimately bringing equality. Even in our understanding of the environment of our little friends, the seahorses. So, and maybe in an aquarium I've seen a seahorse, but I've never really seen a seahorse, so I've got to check it out. Always push your mind open, right? Starman card, North Node and Gemini. Go YouTube a seahorse and watch. I'm sure there's some exotic ass seahorses in like Bali and shit, so who knows, right? Rem Koolhaas. This looks like some Sun in Capricorn, Moon in Aquarius shit. It's like severe masculine, kind of like, almost post-industrial kind of look. Anyway, but he's using teams. I know this story because I've read all these books. He's using teams, very Aquarian, Moon, and Saturn in Aquarius. His work involves people and stuff, and it's sparking new ideas, but it's still physical work in the real world, as you will see. It's not just like, fanciful kind of philosophies. It's applied philosophy, basically. Very Starman card. It's like, I got this idea, now I'm going to ground it, and now I'm going to be it. Before, he was a Pritzker Prize winning architect, and that is Capricorn, Sun, and Moon in Aquarius. Very architectural. Very masculine, potentially. Rem Koolhaas was a journalist and a writer, hailed for his retroactive Manhattan Manifesto, Delirious New York, from 1972. So he wrote a manifesto, very Mercury in Aquarius. Founder of architecture firm OMA and its research branch AMO, once again, research, right? And these organizations bringing hope to the reality. Rem mixes his practice with fashion, literature, media, and builds on big controversial ideas about the modern world. Moon in Aquarius. Gemini North Node. With graphic designer Bruce Mao, Koolhaas published SMLXL in 1995, a landmark tome that blends literary genres to present OMA projects and philosophies. So Jupiter in Pisces, he was willing to blend, alchemically kind of mix up all these very discrete elements. That is what, folks? Not only a sign of like balance and equality in self, but alchemy. Like you're not just one thing. You have many ideas and you kind of synthesize them. Aquarius is very much about vibrations and synthesis of vibrations. Koolhaas's office is like a fertility clinic for talent, Moon in Aquarius, North Node in Gemini, having produced, like created, manufactured Capricornic energy and Aquarius energy, having produced some of the most innovative, in-demand architects working today. He's from the Netherlands, I should say. So a good manifesto is foremost legible, right? So ultimately, I think with all this kind of concretized, serious, Saturnian-ruled Capricorn energy and Aquarius, co-ruled Saturn and Uranus energy, we're learning that we're magical, but there is work involved. It's not just like, oh, just sit around and, eat 10 hits of acid and just hope for the best. It's not quite like that. There's a season for that, I'm sure, but it's like we got to do the work to be at a level you are what you is. So it's beyond what you do, but like there's more work to do. It's a paradox, I know, North Node and Gemini. But there's work to do. You gotta bring balance to your like both sides. I pulled the Chariot card for myself and this morning, but this is about this balance, right? You gotta have this equality in order to bring hope. If you're all mind and no emotions, it's hopeless. If you're all emotions and no mind, it's hopeless. You need to be this fully balanced being. Ultimately, structuring your time and your magic well in order to produce a form of manifesto. Like you are a manifestation, if you want, of energies and archetypes and ideas and karmas and directions and all this kind of stuff. So how are you doing that? Are you doing that in an engineered way or a haphazard way? This is saying to maybe, a good manifesto is a legible one. Take the time to structure this, and it will be legible, and that will make it equally available to everybody. Possibly it being information, your life, whatever, bringing new hope. So last card is a stone and or rock, crystal card. Depends on what it is. Ooh. Fluorite is the stone. You can quantumly entangle with this because that's just the nature of the universe we live in. So fluorite. What it is, fluorite can range from pale green to deep purple, often is both at the same time. North Node of Gemini, paradoxical. It's equality, but many things at once. It occurs all over the place, and it's good to vibe with when you are all over the place. And with the moon in Aquarius, we can feel very kind of electric and scattered a little too. Alien to ourselves emotionally, a little is the shadow of that. Who needs it? The perpetually distracted, North Node in Gemini, everybody, anyone with a vision worth sticking to, right? So if you're living the vision, but you are distracted, you're not doing the work like in an organized way, this is what to summon upon. Are you seeing how all this syncs up? Where to put it? Wherever you find yourself constantly tempted to check your phone, i.e. anywhere you have access to Wi-Fi. So it's like, oh, how's my Coinbase doing? Oh my gosh, what's the next? Who liked this post? Or whatever. Who commented? I don't really care about likes. It's usually like, oh, someone's interacting. So it's like, simmer down now kind of vibes. When to use it? When you want to take an uninterrupted 20 minutes to meditate, an hour to finish a book, or a lifetime to concentrate on your unique calling on Earth. Very 4 of air. Right? Moon in Aquarius. How are you engineering this thing? Sun and Capricorn, Saturn ruled. How are you structuring your time? What is this? You are a nebula of potential alchemies. What are you doing? How are you doing it? Sharpen your focus, it says, right? So you are a focus of the infinite in a point. That's the beauty of being human and conscious of that fact. But are you engineering your time and self and reality well? For it to work, for it to be legible to yourself and others, for a life to have more meaning, in a sense, to be lasting, you need to make your manifestations more legible, right? That's what this was saying. It's like a good manifesto is legible. So it's like a good life is one that has some order and direction to it. Not only that, but like some, for sure. Some equality, some balance, right? That brings you hope. that brings everybody else around you hope too. So you're not just like, oh, I'm just a literary being, but I have no emotions, or I'm just an emotional person, but I don't know how to read, or whatever. That's a weird example, but you see my point. So Fluorite is saying sharpen your focus. And that's literally the magic of the Starman. It's about sharpening who you already are into further effulgence of that being. So I'm going to play my electric guitar like I said. It's how I do my alchemy. I love jamming. So let me get my guitar and talk to you about this all stuff. What? Okay, there. It's weird because I've got to use the microphone for the head microphone. I hope it works. I don't know if it overwhelms it acoustically or what. I don't even really watch these generally. So let me get my guitar, but with the sun in Capricorn. With the sun in Capricorn and the moon in Aquarius, it's a very serious time. So we have to remember to bring balance to it. But the whole point with the Starman card and the Four of Air is like, take your magic seriously. Harry Potter wouldn't be a wizard if he didn't go to Hogwarts. He had to formalize his education. Very Capricorn Aquarius energy. It's not just playing around. Although there's play too. So let's go for it. Just sing if I'm tuned. sun in Capricorn and the moon in Aquarius, and there's all that energy in Capricorn and Aquarius right now going on all over the chart for everybody right now. We're engineering a new life that's going to blow our own minds, but we have to be committed to doing the detailed work and doing the work, really, right? Ultimately, legibility, punctuality, right? Effort, structure leads to a good manifestation or a good manifesto. Having your elements balanced, having your steps ordered, right? You want to leave room for magic. Like I was just improvising heavily there, but I had structure, rhythm. I tried to make it kind of mechanical sounding, very Capricornic, but also inspiring in some magical way, like this, laboratory kind of moon and Aquarius thing. That's what was going through my head when I was playing that, just so you know. But equality is really the beginning of being in balance, which leads to, look how balanced and equal this is, which leads to right apprehension of things. So don't lose hope. If your hope might be relying on one element. Oh, fire will save me, but no air, no earth, no water. It's like bring it all together. All the elements need to be balanced, and that renews your hope, essentially. But it says sharpen your focus, right? So I think what we're having to do is to re-engineer ourselves in an alchemical way, in a balanced way, to ascend. This guy's ascending because he's got his steps in order. He's got the schematic down. He's made his manifesto legible so he can have a revolution, right? He's bringing equality of all the elements and all the it's like, look how balanced he looks, right? Balanced on the biggest wave, as Pink Floyd would say. And that will renew his hope mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and materially, and ultimately leading to a sharper and sharper focus. This very kind of narrowing of the vision, narrowing of the perception. Moon in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius. It's getting the equation on the chalkboard just right so that you can split the atom, that kind of energy. So you can split your atoms and become very magical and illumined. Don't doubt it. Holler for readings if you want. It's $33 for cards, an hour of cards, $88 for 3 hours of astrology, $111 for both. I've only got 5-star reviews, gang, so people like it. I love doing it. Check out the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. We have the first episode of the year, this new Gregorian 2022 year, with Lauren Emily. She's been on a few times. She'll be our first guest tomorrow, I believe. But yeah, go out there and just realize you're a seed. You've been planted. Are you watering yourself? Are you getting the right sunlight? Are you taking time? Plants can't just be in the sunlight. I've grown weed before. It's like you have to have, in that sense, it was 12 hours of lights in the garage on and 12 hours of darkness. You need a cycle, a process. You need to be inspired. You need to be practical. You need to be emotional. You need to be intelligent. You need to be balanced. And that's when we become our true highest magical selves. I can do it. You can do it. We can all do it. So I have faith in you and I have faith in myself. We're doing it. Everyone's doing it a little differently, so respect that. But at the same time, get your game on. You can win your championship, but you have to be willing to pick up your sword and shield and use your head and engage with it. And simultaneously know when to back down and drop your sword and shield and stuff. All this. You kind of get my point. Enjoy your day, this Tuesday. Holler if you want. Scope the podcast, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. I wish, side note, I've always wanted to make video game music. Not that that's what this is, but now you kind of see how my mind works. On that note, adios.